Друзья, снова привет! Я решил сегодня сделать третий стрим по прохождению игры Vampyr, что мне понравилось, на удивление. Очень такая, атмосферно, Лондон. Времена потрошителя и все остальное. Сейчас будем проходить. Желаю тебе приятного просмотра. Не забудь поставить лайк. Если не подписан, подписаться. Приятного просмотра. Погнали.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say?
Really? But still, here I am.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus...
Can I offer you my medical expertise, Mr. Peterson?
The name is Colossus Joe.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
I've been touched by God's grace. I am perfectly healthy.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart.
Really? And what would be your...
We must fight the disease before this legion out...
What is left?
Cleansing.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once.
Science and progress are our only...
See, Doctor? Now you acknowledge...
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost?
Also,
Quite a...
well, you...
What do you mean?
The beast...
Good evening, Mr.
It's far...
Have you any friends?
No. But I have a...
You sent him on some
As a true believer. Sam...
Where did you...
I sent Samuel to the stone...
I have heard enough.
Don't be shy, handsome.
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick, though I...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy
I don't know her. But I know
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel.
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't like doctors or hospitals.
You can put your own life in danger. That's your...
And you think that would worry me? If you knew...
Do you need any assistance?
It depends on the price of...
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of...
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners.
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't like...
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to...
I have no interest in your work.
Short story. The war...
I always thought I was the master of my own fate.
You know, this money is not only for me.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Take a look. Don't be afraid. Welcome, sir. Please, take a breath.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like...
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis.
Have you heard of a nurse?
Nurse Crane.
So she's trying to help her fellow immigrants. Why would...
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like...
That doesn't explain why...
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supply...
How is business?
Business? I have no business. Between...
I see. Sounds like you
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed...
What do you mean besides the epidemic?
Violence is increasing?
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out...
Where did this happen?
In the closed workshops nearby. I work there...
Have you been hurt? Have you been?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics.
Right then.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose. Right then. Show.
You again?
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job.
A job?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You are a criminal who endorses criminal...
I don't care what you think, sir.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your...
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here?
According to you, physicians are...
Not familiar with this.
This part of town does have quite a reputation.
Totally.
May I ask?
I'll do whatever I want, and some...
Goodbye, Mr.
You again?
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Let your guard down. Fancy buying something?
You never...
Joe Peterson. He's the villain.
I've known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson?
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer. Good one, even.
It's never easy to find a new path in life, especially after the loss of a loved one. But crime is...
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of it...
And no one has ever...
Nobody would be fool enough to stand...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's...
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps...
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none...
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of...
It's a disgrace. People are left...
These are bad times indeed. So...
Have you any idea of the day...
I've had to run and hide more than once from...
I'm convinced there is...
Really?
What is a journalist doing in this borough?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go. To
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reports...
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and...
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public...
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is...
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote...
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be...
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist.
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never...
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet...
Where can I find this, Mr.?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind...
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did.
Really?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting...
Goodbye, Mr.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may...
I will see you later. Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Please be my guest. Although
Really?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet...
But are you not afraid?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu.
If you say so. But as a physician...
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know this...
What are your thoughts on the...
Terrible, you say? No. Of course,
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them.
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city.
If some misfortune came upon...
Well, you for a start, my dear doctor.
I understand your need for solitude.
I don't care. I don't have many friends.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why...
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it?
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty.
What can you tell me about...
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't...
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
What?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the Baron's...
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox.
Vivid, of course, yes. And...
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you?
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane...
What can you tell me about an old man called...
Darius Petrescu. Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts.
I'll leave you. Good evening, Mr. Nethercott.
And good evening to you too.
Do you need medical attention?
It may be wise to let you prescribe.
I understand your appetite for words.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health, but
I'll leave. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I know what you're thinking. A tall, straight... Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me... A stubborn and mute comrade. I know you understand what I'm... Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I am... Very well.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
I'm cheap and I'm clean.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak, man? Don't you see we're on the same side?
I'm nothing like you, Mr.
Yes, you are. You too.
I have to admit your words have conviction. you want to talk to Dorothea, you must go across.
We've not been formally introduced.
I am Darius Petrescu.
Do you need some help?
I am very tired, but that...
Well, if you feel all right. So Dorothy's real name is not...
Like myself and many people in the...
She seems important to the...
More than you can imagine. The West...
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost...
Who is she, really?
She's not from around here, that's all we know.
You say she has no close family?
Well, there's that awful poet who
Are you not worried?
She is as brave as she is tough, and clever, too.
Are you in love with Camellia, Mr.
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was young...
Tell me...
I do not...
Do you have any family left?
Who knows? I have a bat.
This war won't last forever.
No. I have taught strength.
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared.
It's quite awkward to talk about our families.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorothea and I share...
You mean occupied Romania, don't you?
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothy.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied, Darius. Tell me more about it.
I know my days are numbered, and I know I won't see my hope.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian...
It is not the country I fought for. My homeland is not...
Goodbye, Mr.
voice. I need help!
What do we have here, nurse?
Patient Raz Van Vasily. High fever running on 3 days. Complaints of dizziness, muscle aches, and head pain. Diagnosed with influenza.
Treatment?
Aspirin and salicin for the fever and discomfort. Liquids for dehydration, but he's having trouble keeping even water down.
Thank you, nurse. Anything else I should know?
He did lose consciousness this morning, but he's never had convulsions like these.
He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalpel! Hand me that scalpel!
What can I do, Doctor?
It's too dangerous to operate with these convulsions. Sedative, nurse. Do we have any anesthetics?
I'm sorry, Doctor. None at all.
I need to perform a tracheostomy. Short pipe. That rubber tube will do. We're going to cut a passage for air through the neck.
Yes, Doctor. He's breathing again, but he's coughing up blood.
Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube.
A thoracostomy? Doctor, we've nothing to fight the infection. We need an aseptic environment.
Don't question me, nurse. I need a drain. Now.
Yes, Doctor. He's still bleeding, Doctor. I'm losing his pulse.
The drain must have punctured the intercostal artery. There's too much blood.
Are you all right, Doctor?
I can't see. I must first suture the artery. Find the wound. The source of the blood.
Needle and thread, Doctor.
Good. The stitches are holding. How's he doing?
We're losing him. We've lost his pulse. He's dying, Doctor.
Cardiac massage, now.
Cardiac... What? Are you making this up as you go along? We've lost the pulse. He's gone, Doctor.
Nurse, we did everything we could.
Truly? Everything you could? Is that how you'll report this in your log? Is this how the war went? Piling up one poor corpse beside the next?
This was not an influenza-induced seizure. I've never seen symptoms like these on the continent.
Neither have I. But the previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
There have been numerous reports of mental breakdowns caused by the fever that accompanies the flu itself, Doctor.
Yes, but... I'd best take some samples of the blood for analysis.
I doubt you're here to test my bedside manners. I suspect it was more than intuition alone that led you to us. So, how might I be of service, Dr. Reed?
I've come to put an end to this insufferable...
Doctor, you think your warnings scare me? I've stolen and plied.
You've convinced me of the sincerity of your actions and their noble justifications. But all the same, blackmail is a crime, and it will stop, Nurse Crane.
So, are you going to turn me over to the authorities?
Listen very carefully, Dorothy. You will erase from your memory everything you pretend to know about Lady Ashbury and Pembroke Hospital.
Let that rich bitch off the hook over my dead
Nurse
body.
Crane, enough. Listen as if your life depended on every word. I know you've a generous heart who gives freely to those in need, but you shall walk away from the shadier streets of your business.
I will never abandon...
Dorothy, the discussion has come to a close. Your clandestine activities in the Resistance are over. Let it go.
I'll let it go. Yes. All gone.
It's locked.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually...
Then you have come to the right place.
Oh, really? Why didn't I...
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research.
Tell me, who intrigues you?
The region itself is something to see, but I would...
You look ill, Miss Swanborough. I wonder if you...
I'm perfectly fine, thanks to my miraculous elixir.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're saying.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.
Kill it, boy! Burn it, boy!
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you.
Do you need my medical...
You don't have to worry about me, Doc.
What can you...
Well, it is...
Do you need...
Well?
Do you want...
Oh, no.
I see. You seem quite...
I'm convinced.
Questions are true. Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed.
I see.
I'm Harvey.
Tell me,
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you would...
I'm a carpenter.
Are you...
Well,
I won't...
Are you sure?
In other... Tell me.
Strictly...
What do you mean?
I off...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew words to calm the children, Helen. As for me...
This hospital seems to be falling apart.
I'm all right.
But...
Don't waste your time.
Good evening, madam.
It's my son who needs...
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer
Do you require medical attention as well?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this?
Despite what you think about this place, I can't...
Well, at least your reputation seems well...
What can you tell me about...
Not much to say. Just take care...
Are you really that rich?
Yes. Thanks to my husband.
May I ask...
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young...
What do you think of your reception here?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we were...
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital.
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed.
She charged you?
Yes, and I paid without question.
Goodbye, Mrs. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
How painful is it?
So painful, I'd rather not.
I'm sure you're
not really.
I see.
Yes, maybe. But...
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here?
My mother just wants the best for me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor?
That's tempting, Doctor.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe...
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your...
Does my arrival inconvenience you?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please...
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital.
I know we've never met before, but I believe...
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed.
There is no need for such animosity between us.
That is one point we could agree on.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine...
Let's just say I'm tired of the
Carelessness?
We're here to save lives. The people...
I don't intend to run any radical experiment.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already...
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive...
And what exactly is...
I served in the war, just like you. But...
Be careful what you insinuate.
I only want you to admit you used those...
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion...
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you.
I refuse. We can at least agree... Thank you for your time.
It's locked, all right.
Good evening. I'm Doctor...
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
A colleague?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadha.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise.
Are you afraid or uneasy?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels.
An interesting point of view.
And, sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to...
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker.
Have we met?
I don't think so.
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies.
Why do you have to watch?
Because these poor fellows have no names.
Why close the hospital?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in...
No. I believe we must do all the good we can.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me.
Do you really believe goodwill?
As I said, sir, everything decays.
If quite depressing.
Yes. But the good news is, we'll...
So you're ready?
No, I am not. I don't...
You're a wise man.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man.
Do you need med...
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy.
Please show me what...
Of course.
Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart. I'm managing a train terminal, not a morgue.
It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost at the same time. I'm sorry you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
I beg your...
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency?
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that?
Well, Dr. Reed.
And why do you believe you're...
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am.
Please, describe...
I can hear my body crumble from the...
I see. Have you ever heard of...
Never? Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here.
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can live...
Who are these enemies you...
I cannot say for sure. But I...
The staff here are not your enemy.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of...
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are...
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal?
I'm curious to know who you were before...
No, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of...
I'll leave you. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you...
Yes?
I have no...
The rules...
Is he...
Hey.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've
Not under my watch, Nurse.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Hello again, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. Good evening.
Evening.
How close are you to Miss Hawcroft? Are you
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game...
She's quite harmless, I can assure you.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed?
In her madness, she never refers to my scars.
So do you let her bite you?
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood.
She could decide to bite less willing.
And it's another good reason for me to...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
You disgust on every street corner.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
I'd like to see your good.
Wise choice, Doctor.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Good evening, Dr. Tim.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
I would ask you to avert your eyes, sir. Or did you not know it was rude to stare?
I knew it.
Speak up, Dr. Reed. I like a man who speaks his mind.
You killed him. He trusted you. And you killed him.
Spare me your sarcasm, Jonathan. You are but newly born in this world.
We are vampires. We live by leeching the blood from weaker prey. We are Darwin's next chapter. His cynical and perhaps ultimate expression.
The situation is somewhat awkward nonetheless. I have not been observed sustaining myself for many decades. I have to say I'm a trifle embarrassed.
Anyway, I have concluded my inquiries concerning your blackmailer.
I see. Please excuse my agitated state. Under no—
The case is closed, your ladyship. The person—
So who was it?
My lady—
Thank you, Jonathan. That is exactly what I need.
Thank you, my lady.
If you have an inclination to learn more about vampires or your current situation...
Why does Dr. Swansea allow you to feed on the—
Dr. Swansea is a good and compassionate man. He is trying to find...
What do you know about this Brotherhood of some—
The Brotherhood is well known amongst London Vampire Society.
And no one suspects—
As you well know, suspicion has recently—
I know this is beyond the pale.
Really? And I thought you were gentlemen.
Very well. But I believe—
A lady has to have...
And who bestowed upon you the—
My maker. He left this isle
Why did you save me in the—
I could hardly stand by and watch such a promising young blood as...
William Bishop wasn't the vampire that created me then?
No, Jonathan. Whatever their strength and demeanor.
What type of—
Not a true vampire. The deformed offspring of...
I've been away from London and England for 3 years.
Things have gone from bad to worse here, Jonathan.
The Spanish flu has hit London.
Yes, but it's not just that.
What is it you—
Fear has long since flown this form.
Are there many—
Immortals are of a rare breed, and we—
Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of—
You mean your maker? No, Jonathan,
What do you mean?
Every now and then, you may discover an immortal in...
Will they all be as affable as you, my lady?
I do not see why not. But remember...
That sounds like a lesson.
Vampire politics are as intricate and sometimes tedious as a game of chess in a gentleman's club.
When I awoke, changed.
Though I can't be certain. More than like...
Once glorious.
They have seen better days, but all fanatics are dangerous.
You make them
More a society, and like all the best ones, a secret.
I don't understand. Why—
That is a question only the one who made you can answer.
So me being a vampire—
I very much doubt it, Jonathan.
I'd like to avoid creating another vampire by mistake anyway.
The process is dangerous. It could...
I've been hearing a voice talking in my head.
Hush. Tell no one this. It would be...
How could this cause...
Only the powerful immortals can mentally call to their progeny.
Excuse my forwardness, but... Are you my maker?
Me? Goodness, no.
A vampire?
Such a crude word, defined by penny dreadfuls and drunken hacks.
Are you?
Yes, I am. We are the closest...
So we are Ekons?
How to put it?
I bid you...
I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient.
We are.
Soul. They belong to you now.
The life running.
Please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot. Good evening, sir.
It's locked. Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu, but also has the highly unstable blood of the Scowls. Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it.